Okay, folks, your buddy Mike Messier here. Mike's Instant Movie Review. This is how I look. Now I'm going to have to kill that audio or that video or that lighting source. God. Okay, let's discuss doubleheader yesterday. I saw The Boy and the Heron, if I'm saying that right, and Monster. Now my Monster review is going to come up second. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on Boy and the Heron. Now, first off, should you see these movies? Should you not? Non-spoiler. Boy and the Heron, I'm mixed on. Monster, I'd say go see it. Okay? Now, this is Monster that's in the theater now. This is not the Charlize Theron Academy Award-winning Monster from 2002. There's several other films that have the word monster in it. Monsters, Inc., Monsters Ball, but this is Monster 2023. I believe it's a Japanese film, subtitles in English. Let me start with Boy and the Heron, or Boy and the Heron. First off, I was tired going into this film, so I fully acknowledge that I was a bit tired. I was surprised to see a pretty decent-sized audience in the film, in the auditorium. That's probably due to the fact that this is the week between Christmas and New Year's, and a lot of people either have time off from work or they are out of school if they happen to be of school age. So I didn't have my typical luxurious, cinema to myself. What did I think? Well, first off, once again, my fault. I probably got into the theater a minute after the film started. Spoilers. There's a big fire scene at the beginning. I did catch several minutes of the fire scene. Maybe I didn't catch what caused it, but I did see the opening credit, The Boy and the Heron. And then there's a voiceover. The voices were in English. I believe like Dave Bautista, the former wrestler turned actor, was listed. Who was was it Christian Bale? I think it was Christian Bale, maybe somebody else of that ilk. I guess this is the thing, folks. I really didn't enjoy myself seeing this one. Probably a mix of being tired, and I know that with these, I always give these type of movies a chance, meaning, Japanese animation. I don't know if it's anime or manga, or I guess manga's the comic book. I don't know. They are very dense, with like thick storytelling. There's a lot of characters. In speaking in broad strokes here, folks, in my experience with these type of films, a lot of characters look very similar. Even in many of these films, in this one, it's even stated early on that the stepmother, it looks just like my mother. The kid is saying this. I mean, I did feel that at the core of this story, a child has lost his mother in this horrible fire. He hasn't resolved his anguish for losing his mom in the fire. And his father is bringing in a new woman who is now, the new wife of the dad. And she's pregnant. And so this kid, who's still mourning the loss of his mother, has basically a replicant stepmother that he's got to deal with. And she's pregnant. So now he's going to have a half sibling of some kind. So that I kind of, not to say I like that, but that I can understand. Like that I'm down with. When we get into this fantasy world and all these different characters are floating in and out, I just kind of fucking lost. Like the stepmother, I believe, has a sister character that comes along as like a spirit guide for this kid. And then she says something like, I don't know what the fuck she says. There's like another character, another kid, or some horse shit, where she's talking about like the stepmother's sister. So the step aunt is talking about some other fucking character. My point is, there's all these like guiding voices or mentor characters or spirit characters or whatever the fucks. And it just feels like it's a hat on top of a sandwich, on top of an Oreo cookie, on top of a pond. Just so much stuff is going on. And yes, the animation is wonderful. It's great. The music's wonderful. And I'm sure if you sat there and had a college student break down this fucking thing with a fucking term paper book, you could understand it. But for me, I always get lost in these fucking movies. I don't know if it's when I say these fucking movies, I mean the Japanese animation films that I repeatedly go to see, and I repeatedly say, why did I go see it, when I always end up confused and bewildered. Maybe it's just not a form of storytelling that I'm ever going to fully appreciate, yet I keep trying. I think there was one a long time ago that they always make a big hoo-hoo-ha. The three grandfathers or the three uncles or some horse shit. So I always go to these fucking movies. I'm always hoping to get whimsical and fucking learn something about humanity, and I never do. I just take a nap, okay? Now, about 2/3 of the way through the process with this film, I'm already telling myself, well, this is just the preamble, the foreshadowing to why you're really here at the theater tonight, and that's to see this monster film, which, I'll tell you what, you know, it really kind of blew my socks off. Spoiler, yeah, well, before the spoiler, yeah, go see it, okay? So, I'm looking at the preview, because I'm like, well, I haven't heard anyone talk about this movie. I haven't seen commercials for this movie. Let me play the little preview on the AMC app. And I played it for about a minute and a half, and the movie looked really intense and really interesting. And I stopped the preview, maybe not even a minute, maybe probably 40 seconds into it. I'm like, I'm just going to go see it. The preview sold me that there was some type of suspense. Now, going into the film, I thought there really would be a literal monster. I thought this poor little kid who looked like he's 10 or 11 or some such thing. Like, is this kid actually experiencing some type of horrible monster? And what could the monster be? But this does not look like a Godzilla film or anything like that. This looks like a serious drama. So what is this monster? Well, come to find the fuck out, the monster, spoiler, if you've seen the film, which I suggest you do, or see the film and come back to me and compare notes. But the fucking monster is society. The monster is his bereaving mother, who is mourning the death of her husband, the kid's father. The monster is his mother's expectation that she promised the father that she would stick around long enough to see the son have a nice normal wife and a nice normal set of kids. And the mom, who did not seem to be she seemed like a really nice mother, good mother. And I'm sure if she knew the kid's secret, that she would not judge him or give him a hard time. At least I don't think so, based on the actress's performance. There was no sensation that she would be anything other than supportive and understanding that what the kid's going through is a sexual identity crisis. So this poor little kid, he's like 11 or 12. He doesn't know what's going on in the world. He's just, he's dead. His father's dead. His mother's telling him all this stuff. I guess in their culture, they believe more so in reincarnation than anything else. So he's wondering, is my father a horse? Is my fucking father a giraffe? Where's my father? And he starts to have feelings for another child. And, little do the people and the adults know what's going on here. In fact, there's this big misunderstanding. What I love about this movie, Monster, is not so much anything except the perspective of the storytelling is really unique. Yes, I've seen other films do this, where you kind of take a story, you examine it from different perspectives. But I haven't seen it done this well in a very long time, and I really can't remember seeing a movie that went this deep with this type of storytelling, where basically we see different sides to a story without any proclamations. Like, there's no big, words on the screen. Well, this is from this asshole's point of view, and this is from that asshole's point of view. It's very seamlessly cut, edited, so that you really have to pay attention. But you feel intelligent watching this type of film, and you feel like this film is giving you like all these little seeds and all these little payoffs. It's one of these films where you're getting, this one also was like 2 hours and 4 minutes. You're getting pretty deep in this thing. I might need to use the restroom here, but you don't want to leave because you're afraid you're going to miss something. So that's really the best thing you can say about a movie in the movie theater. If you're afraid to leave your seat to use the facilities because you're afraid you're going to miss some wonderful information or a great scene. So this movie had all that. So basically what's going on here? There's this kid, like I said, I can't remember, Magneto, I'm sorry, I got the names all wrong. But the kid is, being raised by a single mother, and you see that these people have this tiny little apartment, you know what I mean? And so they're struggling, They're not poor, but it's sad because the dad is dead. And honestly, like us Americans, or North Americans, wherever the fuck you are in the world, you have to be appreciative if you have a lot of space. You know, like even if you're not rich and powerful, you still have a lot of space in this country. People in other countries, you know, they have so many people, they have little space. So, I mean, as Americans, I mean, I'm a giant human being. If I were to go to Japan, I would be like Steve Dr. Death Williams, okay? I'd be honored in the streets, okay? Because of the mere size of me is immense. So, I mean, these people are all crammed up, and it's just like they're breathing over each other. The kid goes to school. He comes home. He's disheveled. He's talking nonsense about. He's wondering if there's a fucking factory where they put pigs' brains into human bodies. He's got all these crazy thoughts. Some reason, mom and son get in the car. Oh yeah, she's looking, like the son takes off in the middle of the night. There's all these time jumps and everything, but the mom goes to find her son. He's hiding out in a fucking tunnel. She brings him. She's driving him home, and they fucking. She's talking about how her dead husband wanted the kid to have his own little wife and family someday, and the kid basically hops out of the fucking moving vehicle. And so, did the kid just try to kill himself? What's wrong with this kid? And then we discover that he's saying that his teacher in school, his, I believe, 5th grade teacher, accused him of having a pig brain and said these horrible things and slapped the kid and punched him and all this horse shit. And so we're really getting pissed, you know, as an audience member. You're like, you can't talk to Machito like that. Fucking teacher, let's go kick your ass. And, you know, the mom goes off to the school. And this is why I say the mom is really a great mom here. And she's all hot and pissed, and she's looking for an inquiry. And you know, not that I'm a fucking expert. From what I understand, in the Asian cultures and the Japanese cultures, they're very polite, reserved to a fault. They're non-confrontational for the most part with each other. Like, you really have to mind your manners. Like, just, that's why they bow. You know, those nice Asian folks are bowing because manners and decorum, all these things that us Americans do not hold in high regard, these fine folks do. So she's really kind of going out there when she's challenging this school system. Why is my son coming home being insulted by this fucking teacher? Why is he getting slapped around? You know, what the hell's going on around here? They offer this kind of pat apology. The teacher, Mr. Hiro, I believe, Hakito, he's offering this apology. The mom's not buying it. So we go through this whole thing, and then we're like, man, this poor kid, what's wrong with him, right? And then what's this horrible teacher doing? They have like this fucking special announcement. The teacher has to apologize to everybody. And then the principal has her backstory. Her grandchild was recently killed in a horrible accident. Her husband ran over the grandchild in a car and killed her own grandchild. So now her husband's in jail. So we're hearing all these things. And then somewhere along the point, maybe 30 or 40 minutes into this movie, we switch gears and we start taking the perspective of the teacher. Now, this teacher that we've all learned to hate suddenly we're seeing the movie from his perspective. Now, if you saw my Von Erich's The Iron Claw review, Perspective, that movie was from Kevin Von Erich's perspective. This movie, we've gone from the kid to the teacher. And so now the teacher, with his perspective, we're finding out that in his perspective, our guy here, our kid, was actually bullying another kid. And, I mean, to cut to the chase a little bit, we discover that kid is being mentally and physically abused by his father. And his father is saying to that kid, oh, you got a pig brain. And also, that kid is probably homosexual. And our, young homosexual, so innocence and all that, but still veering towards the homosexual tendency. So now we discover that our kid, our Machito kid that we've been cheering for, first we think he's a bully for like 20 minutes. Then we discover, maybe even deeper in, it's not that he's a bully, it's that he doesn't know how he feels because he likes this other kid as a friend. He might have homosexual feelings to him, but he might not. It seems like he's kind of conflicted because he's probably too young to really know what the hell's going on, except this other kid treats him well. They have fun together, but he's afraid of getting picked on by the bullies in school. And he is not the bully. He just, by circumstance and by awkward timing, it seems like he's this other kid's bully, but he's really not. It's complicated. That's why you should go see the fucking film, because there is no goddamn Godzilla in this film. The Godzilla in the film is society. And it's the expectation of this poor little kid, because he thinks that he owes it to his dead father to go out and get a wife and knock her up and have a couple of kids. But in reality, he may not be headed towards that life. And he feels like, well, maybe I should, kill myself here. So it's pretty deep shit once you fucking get beyond all this stuff. And like I said, and then the substitute teacher is hanging out at, they call it a hostess bar. I don't know what that translates to. They use the term hostess bar. I don't know if that means a strip club or like a titty bar or like, I don't know what there used to be a thing in the USA called topless bars, which I don't think are even here anymore, but that was like in the 60s and 70s where the waitresses would walk around with no shirts on. I don't know what a hostess bar is. Is that a massage parlor? But I don't know. But the fucking teacher guy is dating a kind of a sexy woman from the hostess bar. But when she starts hearing about all this shame and all this fucking stuff going on, she dumps him like a hot potato or a hot piece of ramen in this case. So it's all very interesting. You know what I mean? It's just one of these movies where so well written. I mean, really a great screenplay, well acted. And look, even with see, I have to have my fucking game face on to go see a fucking subtitled movie. I really have to have my brain thinking. I don't mind a subtitled movie. I enjoy them. But I have to be in the proper mood. Sometimes I don't have the energy to watch a subtitled movie. I don't want to read for 2 hours. This one, I guess I got my nap in during the fucking Boy and the Heron, and I was able to see this one. Let me go back to the Boy and the Heron, see if there's anything I can say. I mean, the Heron was pretty freaky. The fucking movie was weird. Just the Boy and the Heron. It's like a fantasy, and then it's like a fire. It's just, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But interestingly enough, there's another element to this monster movie that I forgot. Guess what happens in the opening scene? A fire. A fucking fire starts both of these movies, and I'm sitting there thinking, is this a theme for my evening? Like, am I going to burn up in a fire? I just saw 2 movies back to back that I really knew nothing about, either one of them, and they both have fires in the opening scene. Wow. So, but we discover that it seems like our kid here, the second kid, who probably is homosexual, started the fire because he wanted to kill his fucking father. Because the kid is starting fires around town because he wanted to burn his father alive, because his father's hanging out at the same hostess club that the teacher's hanging out at. And so the kid, he's trying to burn the fucking club down, and his friend says, "Did you burn down the hostess bar?" And the kid says, "Alcohol is bad for your health." Oh, I'm like, whoa, this kid's a fucking stone cold killer. So, I mean, what the fuck? So the movie, your kids, folks, no matter where you are these days, you got to keep an eye on them. They might be burning people alive. They might be having relationships at a young age. Who the fuck knows? So, and in our buddy here, our main kid, Mashido, he's kind of telling a lie, telling a fib, getting his teacher in trouble with his mom because he's afraid. And, of course, the kids in school are all a bunch of fucking bullies and assholes and idiots, like they often are. I mean, that's who I went to elementary and high school with. Assholes and idiots and morons. And I was the only intelligent person there, obviously. Okay, folks, so that's it. So, on this double header of Asian cinema, I say I'll pass on The Boy and the Heron. I will probably go to the next big, anime or whatever the fuck, epic fucking fairy tale, Japanese animation. This one didn't have subtitles, by the way. It had dubbed in English, so that was good. But I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And the monster film, I loved it. I really thought it was great. The really only question is this better than the Charlize Theron monster? I think it probably is. Okay, folks, goodbye. MikeMessier.com. Subscribe.